All right, it's showing me live. I'm going to dive into it. Hello, and welcome to everyone who's here. Okay, and welcome to Black Lotus Tantra. Welcome to this wild ride for me. And so it will not be as wild. I mean, it will be, but it will not be as bumpy for you. I'm going to talk about what Black Lotus Tantra is. Probably I'm going to talk about what it isn't. I'm going to talk about the 5 pillars of Black Lotus Tantra and tell you about something very special that's coming up for the ladies who are really ready to dive into sex magic. And I'll talk a little bit about sex magic. Really, I like the term sex magic. It's fun, it's funky, but it's not really what most people think it is. So we're gonna maybe touch on that a little bit as well. Black Lotus Tantra is Lilith-based Tantra and sex magic teachings for the healing, power, and liberation of Black women. And there couldn't be a better time, I think, than the present moment for Black women to really step deeper into our healing, deeper into our power for our own liberation. And when we are liberated, so goes the world. And I cannot think of a better time for this. This has been for me, the number 9 keeps popping into my mind, 9 years in the making. And I'm thinking sensual energy alchemy has really been in business about 7 or 8 years, but formally, but maybe 9 years altogether. And I'm still getting over being sick, so I might be stifling a cough or two. I should just let it out. So this has been 7 to 9 years in the making. And when I took this last break, I usually take breaks in the winter. When I took this last break and I was trying to figure out what did I want to come back with? And it was the same thing that had been popping up for at least the past 3 years. You really need to create this version, this philosophy, this pathway of sex magic for Black women. I didn't see it out there. I still don't see it out there. I see a lot of goddess stuff. I see a lot of retreats. I definitely see pussy power things for sure. But I don't see a lot of what I call or deem sex magic teachings out there, which I believe to be ancient. There's one person who comes to mind who I know she's definitely teaching along this realm. I felt like, and I didn't like prepare some type of talk or anything. I have the pillars prepared. I felt like when November 6th happened, when all of that happened with the election, and I felt the collective punch to the chest for Black women. Like I felt it. It knocked the wind out of me completely. I had absolutely no energy to do anything for the rest of November and December. And it was clear, I was looking for my nose ring. It was clear that something needed to shift for us because there's this part of us that believes, right? And we believed. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the believing. It was hard to see the truth of how this country really feels deep down inside. I know we know it, but we push through anyway. And I was just thinking to myself, there's got to be a way for us to acknowledge the fact that this country does not like Black women, that we are also not victims, that we have a strength and a sovereignty that has carried us through everything, and that it is really time to amp all that shit up. Because we've spent so much time being the good woman, the good girl, the smart one, the successful one. We rode the bike of get the education and the degrees and your life will be dot dot dot. We did the things that everyone told us to do. And yet and still, we found out in November that we are not well liked, that we are despised, even though we've done all the right things. And so it was clear that it was time for something for us. And my services have always been for Black women because that has been my experience. But it was clear that now it was time for us to dive deeper. And oh, what a taboo topic. I mean, pushing the boundaries here, because many of the women that I'm talking about, this type of topic isn't even on the table. It is not acceptable. It is taboo. It is evil. It is sinful. It is not of God. And here I am, wanting to bring this to Black women. So to be clear, Black Lotus Tantra is not going to be for all Black women. It just can't be. But it is for Black women who are ready and willing to own the full weight of the responsibility of our sovereignty, of our power, and understanding that that power comes in part through our sensuality, not our sexiness. There's nothing wrong with being sexy, but it comes through our sensuality, which has so much more depth to it, so much more weight to it. Why Lilith based? This pendant represents Lilith. I'll talk a little bit about who she is for those of you who may not know. Lilith represents the first woman. She is a figure in ancient Judaism, ancient Jewish mythology. She was said to be the first wife of Adam's, and she was created as his equal. She did not come from his ribs. I have issues with that whole storyline. She did not come from his ribs. She came from the dirt, just like Adam did. And notice that they come from the dirt, not the sand. What color is the dirt? I'm just saying. They were made from the dirt. Equal. And when Adam thought that he could, have Lilith the way he wanted her sexually, and Lilith was like, nah, bro, like, I'm gonna ride you. And Adam was like, woman, no, I'm the leader. You're gonna do what I say. And Lilith was like, well, hold on. We're both created like out of the same stuff, same time, same, like, what do you say? And Adam was like, nah, I'm gonna lead this. And Lilith was kind of like, well, fuck you. I'm out. I will not be subjugated. And she ran off. And God sent 3 angels after her to bring her back. And Lilith was like, I will not. I will not. And so then Eve was made, more obedient model, trad wife, if you will, for those who like that. And so I'm not going to beat up on trad wife stuff. I've been there, done that. I'm not going to beat up on those who want that kind of lifestyle. We're all here on our own journeys. That's just not my journey. And so I'm not here for those women. Like I said, it's not for everybody. I'm here for the women who feel deeply into their own strength and power and liberation, their sovereignty, their sensuality. Now, let me talk about really quickly what Black Tantra, what Black Lotus Tantra isn't. This is not a place for male bashing. This is not a we hate men space. I absolutely love men. Lilith loved men. She loved the masculine energy. She was very much of the Jill Scott of, if you can tell me what to do, you can tell me what to do. But if you can't tell me what to do, you can't tell me what to do. It's very much Lilith energy. So what this isn't is some cult of man hatred. This is not some we don't like men. This is not a dominatrix space. Love it. Love the dominatrix space. But that's just not what this is. Black Lotus Tantra is about owning all of you. The good, the bad, the ugly. It's about owning all of your power. It's about owning your grief, your anger, your rage, your sadness. It's about releasing your regret. It's accepting the full range of who you are as a woman and a human being. It is certainly not about your submission. I am not. Let me be very, and I've lived that life too. I'm just not for that. If that is your interest, I've got resources for you. Again, I'm not here to shit on anybody's path. But this is for the woman who that's just not who they are. Free-spirited, sensual, sexual, adventurous, strong, unapologetic, feeling okay with telling you no, without a very long explanation, feeling very comfortable in their yes, despite your disdain for what they may be saying yes to. Wild women. That's who Black Lotus Tantra is for. So let me get into these 5 pillars. And this is what I have been cultivating my life through over the past 10 years. It's so interesting. I was talking to my daughter last night, and she was talking about the changes. Because we don't see when we change. It's usually other people who will see that we've changed, but we don't necessarily see it because we're living it day to day. And she was talking about the difference in me from when I was married to my ex-husband versus now. And one of the things that came out of her mouth was, you're larger than life. You're big, you take up space. Yeah. Whereas before, I I was I was I was in the corner. I mean, he always had to be at the front. I could never. Not only did that not work well for him, but I didn't know how to be in the front. I felt like that was being selfish. So one of the changes that happens in working through these are going to slide off my face, and working through these 5 pillars is you're going to see a change in yourself. Black Lotus Tantra is about self-development. I'm going to talk a little bit about what Tantra is and why I put it all together. But Black Lotus Tantra is about self-development and learning how to create a life you want to make love to working in conjunction with your body and your clitoris as an instrument for change. Ugh. All right, 5 pillars. The first pillar of Black Lotus Tantra, embodied healing and reconnection. As Black women, we have been split into so many fragments. Part of it is due to safety, due to trauma. We do not feel safe most of the time to express all of our emotions and feelings. They're not the same. We are always worried about everyone else. And I think that's because we realize deep down inside how much of an effect we actually have on the atmosphere, how much we shift the atmosphere of places that we walk into. And so we're trying to be so cautious and thoughtful when it comes to others. But in doing so, we are stuffing our emotions and feelings down. So we're going to work on that embodied healing and reconnection, because some of us have been stuffing down for so long, we're not even sure what it is we're feeling. We can't tell you. We cannot identify it in our bodies. And if you're delving into SxMagick, you need to be able to feel so that you're clear on what it is you're creating. So inside of the Black Lotus Tantra community, you understand that your body is your sanctuary. Your body is your safe space. We take time to work through that. We take time with you releasing shame and reconnecting with yourself through somatic practices and self-pleasure and nervous system regulation. Because when you feel at home in your body, you can reclaim your power. Not to mention the fact that so many of us have really just gone through body trauma, not just generationally, but literally in our own lifetimes. If we have time, I'll tell you a little bit about my story for those of you who don't know. Second pillar is pleasure as power. Pleasure is your source of strength, your confidence, and your alignment. And when I talk about pleasure, I'm not just talking about your mani-pedis. I love that for you. I love it for me. I'm talking about deep pleasure in your body. I'm talking about orgasms that last longer than 30 seconds. I'm talking about orgasms that are so deep you can taste them in your mouth. I'm talking about orgasmic pleasure that exists without the use of a toy. Not a big fan. Not a big fan of the toys, because I think it creates a disconnect for us. I know that toys are important for exploration, right? And figuring out what one likes sexually and all of that. But we're going in a little bit of a different direction here. And so I'm not going to tell you to throw out your toys. But for the self-pleasure practices that we will be incorporating in our SxMagick practices, these are not battery operated. There is a vibrational frequency that comes from a battery. Nothing wrong with that. That's what batteries are supposed to do. But there's a vibrational frequency that comes through there. There's an electric frequency. That's not your frequency. And so when we're doing SxMagick, We need your frequency unhindered, not with interference. So think of it like, when you get on the airplane and they tell you to put your phone on airplane mode, you're putting your battery operated toys on airplane mode. We don't want it to interfere with the cockpit. Okay? The third pillar, shadow work and emotional liberation. We dive deep. I'm a huge practitioner of shadow work, almost on the daily. It is so important for us to acknowledge the ugliest parts of ourselves and not try to pretend that we are not sometimes selfish and lazy and bitchy and just curmudgeon, that we sometimes just don't give a fuck, that we don't want to be compassionate and open-hearted and good people. We have to admit that to ourselves so that it doesn't override and run amok on some unseen programming, messing up your vibration. We need to acknowledge all of that so you can decide how you want to move. Because listen, let me tell you, some people deserve your forgiveness and some people need to be told to get the fuck on. But if you're trying to be the good girl and trying not to seem a certain way, and you want to stuff down that part of you because you don't want to come off as mean, well, then you'll have fun with the shadow work. Exposing the darkness, holding it up to the light, owning it, and deciding if you want to keep those parts of yourself or not. You get to choose that. Fourth pillar, sacred sexuality and Tantra. So sacred sexuality, sacred. This is why we don't come into this community with any man bashing or man hating. We love men here. And in a world of inclusivity, there is some exclusivity to this community. While it is not that all are not welcome, because I am a woman who loves men, my teachings are going to center around that. If you are a woman who loves everyone, who loves women, who has a beautiful rainbow view of your love, I love that for you. I think it's amazing. And I have community resources, places where you can learn sacred sexuality and Tantra. I'm here for it. And I recommend you to those places. Black, queer, women-led. I have them for you. I just want to be clear that I cannot teach in a lane that I don't live. It just wouldn't make sense. So I'm not going to pretend, and I'm not going to try and contort. I'll tell you that this is a space for women who love men. And I will tell you that I've got the spaces for those of you who love everybody, and I support it. I support it. It's just not my lane, right? So sacred sexuality and Tantra. We talk about ancient tantric wisdom. We talk about SxMagick solo and SxMagick partnered with the male, masculine, feminine energies. And I know that those are two different things, gender and energy. Totally get that. But again, I'm dealing with men, masculine, most of the time. Although some of us in here as women might have a bit more masculine energy and we might prefer more effeminate men. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes we like our men a little spicy, a little saucy, a little different. Again, I'm not here to judge it. This is not a dogmatic space. This is not a rules-driven space. There are pillars. for exploration. There are pillars to assist you in your self-development so that you have a roadmap, a guideline. But Black Lotus Tantra is not about to give you a 14-point plan as to how you are supposed to operate as a human being. Absolutely not. That's not how Lilith operates. So Tantra is an ancient practice, goes back tens of thousands of years. I dare say hundreds of thousands of years. It originated on the continent of Africa and moved through Africa up into the Indus Kush Mountains, up into what is known as India, into Buddhist practices, into Hindu practices. But let us be clear that the origins of sacred sexuality came from the continent of Africa. And the practices of Tantra were to create union between masculine and the feminine, the light and the dark, the soul, spirit, and the physical realm. The reason why people focus so much on sex with Tantra is because people are misguided and they want to sell stuff, and it's easy to sell sex. But really the practice, the reason why sex is important is because sex is part of our physical experience as human beings. Sex is also a very spiritual act. Whether you call it making love, whether you are fucking, whatever it is that you're doing in between, from missionary to doggy style, it is all spiritual. Nasty is spiritual. I hope I offended someone. Gosh, I hope I offended someone. Nasty is spiritual. Nasty is holy. Yeah? Whoring is holy. The sacred prostitute, holy. And the fifth pillar, confidence and sovereignty. Because you are the mother of humanity. Black women carry within them the mitochondrial Eve DNA that exists. We alone carry that strain, that strand, the blueprint to modern day humanity flows through your melanated body. We belong everywhere. This earth is filled with our children. Confidence and sovereignty wherever we go. Learning to set boundaries, which doesn't necessarily always mean saying no, although many of us do need to learn how to say no. Learning how to communicate your needs without having to feel like you're imposing too much. Oh my gosh, man, that was so me. And this is not just with men, which I think is beautiful, but this is with your family. Your family, your aunties and your grandma and them, your cousins, older folk. I love that we hold reverence for the elderly, for our elders. I think there's absolutely a place where we do, because our elders are supposed to have a level of wisdom. They've seen some things. But I will be honest with you, I've never taught my children, and no one taught me this. This is just who I am, much to my mother's chagrin. I did not give deference to someone simply because they were older than me. Never did it. Never did it. Never discounted someone because they were younger than me. Didn't do it. That person who was younger than me, for whatever reason, in my eyes, could have a soul that was ancient. And this person older than me, just spewing out some bullshit, unhealed, unhealthy. I couldn't do it. And so I taught my children to respect people. Period. Because if everybody did that, we wouldn't have to worry about it. And it started to feel like people were asking people to respect elders, not simply because of the wisdom that elders were supposed to carry, but because in the hierarchy of the power structure, you know, if you're treated like crap as a kid, then when you finally get to be an adult, you have some power. So now you need the people under you to see you as important, so you can now finally feel powerful. That's what it was giving. And my thing is, we're all powerful. So confidence and sovereignty, no matter how old you are, no matter what room you're in, no matter who you're in front of, to be able to trust yourself, to know thyself, so that even in the face of what seems like the thing that everyone tells you to do, you're able to discern. This isn't about, ignoring people, but this is, I've listened to them, I filtered it through. And because I'm embodied and in tune, because I'm living in pleasure in my body, because I'm clear on the parts of me that are icky and ugly, I can listen to what they're saying and let it bounce through my own vibration and say, you know what? There's some truth to that. Or I can say, you know what? No, that doesn't hold weight here. And be okay with that. So that we're not perpetuating generational dumbness as women, passing down certain habits, traditions, and ways of being to our children because that's just how my mama did it. That's just what's always been done. No, we're going to fucking think. We're going to decide. Is it important to keep these traditions? Are they uplifting me, my children, the people around me? Or can I let this go? Is it coming from a place of pain? Because we get to decide that. And then we get to grieve even more in the possible loss of that connection that we may have had. Because some of the connections might be through pain and not pleasure. So as you can see, when you put all of this together, it's a way forward for Black women. In my not very humble opinion. This is a way forward for us. This is how we create a new world, through getting in touch with our bodies. Now, let me talk about this sex magic piece for a little bit. So sex magic is the idea that one can create one's desires through the act of orgasmic pleasure, whether that is solo or partnered. Partnered is always going to add some extra to the equation, of course, right? So sex magic is the idea that I'm clear on who I am, I'm clear on what I want, my antennas are focused, the rabbit ears are good, I'm receiving the vibration, I'm locked in to the vibration of the universe, source energy, God, whatever you're calling it. And I'm in tune with what it is, my desire. We're clear on it. And then in the act of ultimate creation, during self-pleasure or sex, I am going to bring to life this new idea. I'm going to birth this new idea. I'm going to birth this new desire. That's SxMagick in a nutshell. SxMagick is not a quick fix. You can get quick results. I've gotten them. But again, this is a self-development practice. So you will find in Black Lotus Tantra that though you are indeed focusing on SxMagick, you're really actually focusing on yourself and giving birth to this more elevated version of you. And when I say elevated, I don't want you to confuse that with like pristine or holy. Okay? Because again, nasty and slutty, we're here for that too. I don't want you to think that this is about, being pious. It's not. Okay. So let me see. I talked about the 5 pillars. I talked about what SxMagick is. Now let me talk to you about the community. The Black Lotus Tantra community, www.blacklotustantracommunity.life, Life, is open for Black women, melanated women. This is our space to grow, to relate, to shift. Some of you will remain in the community and you'll take in the classes that are already there and the classes that will be offered. And there will be a once a month group gathering. And we're going to do all kinds of embodiment exercises and practices together. And that is where you live. And I welcome you into the community for that. Some of you are ready to dive deeper. Right now, I am going to be piloting level 1 of the Black Lotus Tantra Academy for SxMagick. There will be 3 levels to the academy. Level 1 will be the seekers, people who are ready to learn, who are seeking the knowledge. Well, what is SxMagick? How do I apply these pillars to my life? This is your basic 101. And some of you might stop there and you're good. Some of you may progress to level 2. Some of you may progress to level 3. Everyone must go through level 1 before going through level 2, and everyone must go through level 2 before going through level 3. And right now, if you choose to become a member of the Black Lotus Tantra community, you will have access to the pilot program of level 1, the seekers, as part of your membership. So this is it is a gift for sure, but it's also, you're here, you're already in the community. You're wanting to be part of this. And so for 13 weeks, we will journey together starting March 8th or 9th. I keep forgetting the date. I think it's the 9th. We'll journey together for 13 weeks through the level 1 seekers. But in order to do that, you must be a member of the community. I'm not opening the pilot to the public. The pilot is only going to be for the Black women who are members of the community. And so that's what we'll do. But you will need to join the community by March 1st in order to be included in the pilot program. Feel free to join the community anytime, but in order to be part of the pilot program, you must join by March 1st. Now, a word on the pilot program. Somebody outside playing. They're rolling through the streets of New York with a very loud speaker. I guess they want everyone to hear their music. All right, so let me set some ground rules here, and I will do the same thing with the ladies as well inside the community. This is an interactive program. You cannot join any of the levels, even level 1, and just kind of like chill, not participate, lurk. Absolutely not. This is deep work and it's serious work. It's blood, sweat, and tears work. We do get to blood magic, by the way, in level 3. For those of you who will wonder about that. If you're going to be part of this pilot program, you're giving it the same attention and reverence that you would anything else that you're doing. And if you're not ready for that, that is okay. I will run this again. It's the pilot. This is going to be run, again and again and again, obviously. But I just want to let you know, this isn't a, let me kind of just hang out in the back of the class. No, it's like we're all sitting in a circle. I don't like rows where you can kind of like hide out in the back and, I got to, no, we're all in a circle. I want to see you. I want to work with you. I want to get to know you. So if you're ready for that kind of deep dive, you can join the community and then let me know you want to join the seekers. I would love to have you. All right, I think that's it for today. I think that's it. I'm excited. I'm not just excited about this, I'm just excited about this for the women who are going to grow, for the women who are going to learn, for the women who are going to find themselves shifting and experience their shifting. I'm so excited for you to join this. I'm sure I need to put links and things and all that in here in order for people to join, right? This is I'm going to go back to using StreamYard. As for the name Black Lotus Tantra, I'll explain the meaning behind that to the women who are inside the community. Everything ain't for everybody. Everything ain't for everybody. And we're going back to some of that. I said sometime last year that I was not really going to be teaching SxMagick like that in public anymore. And I'm not, because everything isn't for everybody. Everyone is not ready. Everyone doesn't understand. Everybody's at different spaces. So why the name Black Lotus Tantra? I think I will explain that in the community. Maybe eventually I'll talk about it publicly. But right now it's for those in the community. Membership in the community is $25 a month. There's a 7-day trial. So it's $25 a month. And then you also get to be inside of this program for 13 weeks. Now somebody's like, oh, where's the link? Okay. The pilot program is at no additional cost to you outside of your membership. $25 a month or $250 a year, which saves you money. Actually put a yearly version up there for folks. Okay. This has been fun. I actually enjoyed this. I miss going live. I will be doing more live streams. They will be on YouTube. Fuck Meta. Unfortunately, I still have to use the platforms to some degree because we're all just sucked in. We're all sucked in. And I accept that that's what it is. We're all part of the web. But listen, where I can, I mean, not that Alphabet is any better, right? This is Google. Till I build my own platform for me, I'll be here on YouTube. Okay. If you have any questions about anything, please leave them in the chat. Feel free to reach out to me. Welcome to Black Lotus Tantra. Welcome to the Black Lotus Tantra community. And ladies, welcome to the Black Lotus Tantra Academy of SxMagick. I will see you inside the community.